Greetings and salutations, this is Jarsz, the biggest YouTuber ever! And good morning, Jarsals! Welcome to another edition of the Daily Jarsz for Saturday, the 4th of November, 2023. The weekend's here, woohoo! Hope you're all well and growing yourself to emulate me. A special shout out to those that clicked subscribe yesterday. Welcome to the world of Jarsz. I hope you enjoy the show. Today we're doing something a little different. Earlier this week, there was a debate on Jeranism's channel between fellow Wolfpack member Roohif and a religious flurf I've never heard of before, Nick Quinn. Apparently he's active on TikTok. Anyone want to take a guess at how that went? But before I introduce Roohif and another special guest, I want to thank my YouTube members. Thank you once again for all that you do for me, and thanks for being part of the Huge Jarsz movement. Time to welcome our special guests. Welcome to the show, not only Roohif, but Critical Think.
Hey, good morning.
Hello.
And a very early morning for you, Critical Think, because you're in Thailand.
Yep. 3 a.m. here.
Okay.
Yes. It must be fun getting up at 3 a.m. just to participate in a fat man's stream. But anyway, we'll see how we go. I'm sure you'll have lots of insights. Roohif, many thanks for your time and yours, Critical Think. This debate took over an hour and a half, and I want to keep this stream between 30 and 45 minutes to respect your time. So we'll just look at certain bits of the debate. I'll skip my main roundup segment for today to give us more time. You have a reputation of being a bit of a maths genius, and you use that superpower to show that people like Jay Tolan in particular are full of crap. What other sorts of things do you do?
I don't think I use anything more than high school maths and trigonometry. My whole point yesterday on 2 days ago on that debate was basically my first slide was flat Earth is not a conspiracy theory; it's a geometry question. And you don't need anything more than high school geometry to work anything out. So my whole point was the three questions that I asked him were to show that flat earthers cannot do geometry. That's it.
And basically they failed high school.
Yeah, yes. There are a bunch of conspiracy theorists that were not good at maths at school.
Yeah, I always say conspiracy theorists are people who don't have enough knowledge or experience to know that they're wrong, basically.
And the arrogance in asserting that they're right is pretty funny.
Yeah, they want to be right, but they don't do the work to be right, do they? Yeah. So what led you to this debate with Nick? Had you heard of him before?
No, I'd never heard of him before. So I'd signed up on Jaren's Debateism platform probably about a month or 6 weeks ago. And you fill out a form that says, here are my questions and here are my claims. And I get a message a week ago from this guy saying, Jaren has put me forward as a debate opponent. Do you want to do it? I'm like, okay, sure, I'll debate anyone. And then he put forward his questions and claims. And when he did that, I knew it was going to be a bit of a shit fight, because one of his original claims was the moon doesn't have a specular highlight. And I'm like, why make that claim when it doesn't mean anything? Like, how do you get from the moon not having a specular highlight, which is obviously easily explainable, but how do you get from that to the Earth being flat? How do you get from the sun and the moon being the same angular size to therefore the Earth's flat? His questions were terrible. How do you get from stars supposedly disappearing when you get up high to the Earth being flat. It was always going to be a shit fight. And it was.
As you should.
Yeah.
In fact, you basically showed he was wrong every single time, and he just wouldn't accept it, which shows the intellectual dishonesty of him.
Yeah, he was all bluster before the debate. I'm going to smash you and blah blah blah. And I was like, that's
always say that.
Yeah,
they always say that, and they never do it. It's always amazing, unless you're Whitson, who just spews forth verbal diarrhea, and you never really get a chance to respond. So he thinks he wins.
Yeah, and no one understands what he says.
Yeah.
So
they just assume he's
flat earthers. Yeah, flat earthers think that the way that he speaks. Flat earthers think that he's winning when he's just talking absolute rubbish.
Yeah, you were going to say, CT?
Oh, just going to say that full of confidence, but not knowing that he's, like Roohif said, not knowing that he's talking complete rubbish, but thinks he's absolutely correct 100%, and no one else can be correct. He's the correct one.
Yeah, it's almost as if their measure of success is how many idiots can you convince rather than what's objectively true.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's sad. What was Jeranism like to deal with, or did you only just have that time on screen?
Like I said, I've been speaking to him for about 6 weeks. I was careful not to debate him on Telegram, just one-on-one. And I couldn't help myself, and I did a little bit. And it pissed him off. Like he deleted the conversation, which apparently on Telegram deletes both sides of the conversation. So he's able to delete my messages to him. And I thought that he had blocked me. I didn't know how Telegram worked, but I told you guys that he blocked me, and apparently that's not true. He can just delete my messages to him. So a few weeks ago, I assumed a few weeks ago that he had blocked me and I would not be a debater on his channel. Then Nick Quinn hit me up and said, "You're my opponent."
Yes, Darren seems to be focused on conspiracies rather than facts.
Yeah. Again, my first slide said, "This is not a conspiracy theory; it's a geometry."
Yeah. We better get going before time gets away on us. The format of the debate was you had 3, I think you mentioned it earlier, actually, 3 questions each, and then the other person could respond, and then you made 4 claims with evidence, theoretically. Not that Nick gave any. And then there was a response. So let's have a look at that video. Before I begin, is Jaron actually wearing a bow tie there?
I think so. And a science coat, lab coat.
Looking very Riley-ish.
Yes, it was pretty good. Yeah.
All right. So the first clip is the introduction. So I'll just to give a bit of context, I'll just play that.
Nick, you're up. You got 3 minutes when you're up. All right. My name is Nick Quinn. I was born and raised in the States, as everybody else likes to call them. We call them USA, America, but whatever. I first came to conspiracy theories around 2005. And didn't really take off anywhere until around 2018 when Flat Earth hit me. And it took me like 4 months to try and figure out if this was the truth or not. And I did my own research, my own testing, and you really can't, you can't prove the globe. You can't test the globe to prove it. If anybody says they can, then they're lying to themselves and they're still deceived, right? So I love Flat Earth. I'm a believer. I do believe in Jesus. It's really cool to get on debates and have a dialogue with somebody who doesn't, necessarily believe in your beliefs or whatever. It's fun. You can keep it cordial. It's really cool. And Flat Earth is my claims are going to be real easy. We see too far. That's one. The sun and the moon appear to be the same size because they are. If you read it biblically, that'll be a different debate. They even say that they are. What was my other ones? Oh yeah. Infrared has been detrimental to the globe Earth because even JT Nolan has been crushing it since 2018. And recently I've got a video of myself that I didn't do, but I got it from a friend. And he did it over 20 miles at Kentucky Lake, and it just crushes the globe. Like, it's great, and it's awesome. So that's pretty much my intro. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you get a 1 minute response if you have one.
Well, not really.
Okay, you want to
read my intro?
Okay, we'll go straight to your intro. So you got 3 minutes. Go ahead whenever you want.
Share 1 second.
You said you're going to share?
Yes.
Okay. 3 minutes. Whenever you start, I'll start.
Oh, yep.
Yep, we're good whenever you want.
All right. So the main point I want to make tonight is that flat earthers view this topic as a conspiracy theory when it's just a geometry question. So they'll try and convince you that everyone's lying. and you need to take NASA's word for it. You don't, you can figure it out for yourself. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to do geometry.
All right, so that pretty much covers it for the intros. Let me set up the. Oops, didn't. Damn it. Oh, I took it out. That's right. You wouldn't have heard that. That's good. So we move on to the. Oh, I lost my cheat sheet. Where's it gone? I've got 3 screens and I need 6. So the next one is Roohif's first question, which was.
Oh, that was his question to me. The atmospheric compression.
Oh yeah, but that's just the end of his question. I'm skipping over that
Okay.
because we've only got so much time, and I thought his response was golden.
Turn to give him a question. Go ahead.
My question is a geometry question. It's about measuring drop due to curvature. So I said you are on top of a mountain which has an elevation of 1,000 feet. You're looking across a valley to another mountain 30 miles away, which also has an elevation. Oh, hang on. Also has an elevation.
Oh, did you want
of
that?
1,000
Sorry,
feet.
did you want to share?
No, I'm reading it off.
Okay, good.
My screen changed. If you measure the angle to that mountain with a theodolite, what would you expect that angle to be if the Earth is a globe? Show your work.
Okay, so if the Earth was curving, if the Earth was a ball, it'd be like a 30 to 40 degree angle.
Fuck.
30 to 40 degree angle.
Oh,
He just pulled it out of his anus, didn't he?
yeah.
Geometry.
Wow.
But you don't get that. When you're at that height, you look at it and it's there. You're going to see a little bit of the bottom missing with 30 miles, but it's still there and it doesn't curve over. There's no angle. There's no angular detection to the mountain. There's no angular detection to whatever you're trying to use your theodolite for. Now, if you're using your theodolite, which type of surveying are you using? Plane or
I'm
geodetic?
just using a theodolite
Right. What are you using it for?
to measure the angle to the mountain.
So plane surveying, not geodetic.
I'm not doing any, so I'm just measuring the angle to the mountain with a theodolite.
Right. There's
It
two
measures
different
angles.
There's 2 different types of using a theodolite, measuring with a theodolite.
The theodolite just measures angles. I want to know what the angle is.
Okay, so you don't know which
Pause for a second here. I thought I was quite clear there. The method, you might be doing a geodetic survey, mapping the country, right? Or you might be mapping out I don't know, someone's building site with a theodolite, right? The theodolite itself just measures angles. Like he's almost implying that if I'm doing a geodetic survey or a planar survey, the angle will be different. That's rubbish. The angle is what it is. Yeah, what I do with it then is irrelevant. I'm just measuring an angle.
There's another aspect of that. He's trying to show that he has some knowledge and trying to trick you with a question. He's heard about plane surveying and geodetic surveying, and he's trying to act smart. He's actually acting
Absolutely.
dumb.
He has some knowledge, but not enough to know he doesn't have enough.
Top left.
He thinks he's schooling you, is what he's doing.
Yeah.
Saying,
He was-
there's 2 types of surveying. Which one did you do? Well, it's irrelevant. I'm just
I
measuring
didn't
an
do
angle.
any surveying. I just measured an angle. Yeah.
Anyway,
Bizarre.
there's a minute left of this section.
Using any particular method, a theodolite measures an angle, regardless of what you then use that angle for. What is the predicted angle?
and I gave that to you. But like I said, you don't
show your work.
He gave 30 to 40 degrees.
I messaged him later and said you're off by 29.8 degrees or something.
You don't understand what you're going for. Like you don't know what surveying you're doing. There's 2 different types.
Again,
It's
a
irrelevant.
theodolite simply measures angles, right? Regardless of what I then do with that angle, if I have to do a geodetic survey or a planar survey, the theodolite measures an angle, right? It doesn't matter what I then do with it. What is that angle? What's the predicted
Being
angle?
very patient.
The predicted angle for your globe is going to be about 30 degrees.
30 degrees. Show your work, please.
There is no work.
There is no work. As I said at the start, this is a question of geometry.
Right. You just
And
look
you
at
can't do geometry.
I can do geometry. I gave you your answer for the globe, and it doesn't work.
Show your work. The question said, show your work.
I don't have a theodolite, so I can't.
No. The geometry, not the theodolite. Show your prediction using geometry.
He's grasping at straws there. He's thinking for some reason he needs a theodolite to show his work. No, he just needs to do the calculation. That's all he needs to do. But maths is the kryptonite of Flurs.
Oh, yeah. Like it was at this moment he realized he fucked up.
Yeah, he's just all bluster, isn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the next one. So this one, this is your claim number 1, I believe.
Number 1. Celestial navigation, I think.
Roohif.
Second question. Calculate the distance
Good
between
question.
34 degrees south, 151 degrees east, and 33 degrees south, 71 degrees west. Show your work.
It's Wolfie's question.
Okay, so here's my work. You're pretty much talking about Sydney to Chile or Santiago, wherever you're talking about. Globe model predicts
He's so precise.
7,060 miles, or 11,363 kilometers.
Yep.
601.35 or 6,135 nautical miles. So, with that being said, that's on the globe model. Our flat Earth model, it would probably be double that because you guys always.
So, in other words, he's disproved flat Earth.
He gave
Because
me
we
the
know
globe
how long
answer.
it takes.
He says it's probably twice as long.
Yeah. It's so precise.
Not always, but no flight actually goes from Sydney to Chile. And if it does, you guys need to prove it. And when I say that, prove that, I believe that we only would accept like a full live stream from Sydney to Chile, right?
No.
No, I'm serious. It sounds funny, but there is no full on flight. They just, somebody in a plane, oh, I'm in Chile, or I'm in Sydney and I came from Chile.
Yes, a hallmark of pseudoscience is ridiculous standards of evidence.
Correct. Yeah, and I call him on it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I spoke to Jaron after the debate about this, and during my claim about flight routes, I showed the direction the flight came from. So like it comes up from the southeast up into Sydney and comes up from the southwest into Chile. And there were several flights that followed the coast of Chile, trackable by someone on land, all the way up the coast of Chile. And I modeled it for Jaron to show, I assume that the theory is that once they get away from land, they turn off their ADS-B transmitter and, then start heading towards the AE route thing. And I showed how ridiculous that looks on the AE map. If you're taking off from Santiago, heading south down the coast of Chile, then you've got to get away from the land and do this massive. You're heading in the wrong direction to where you want to go, just to fool everyone, right? You're heading massively south, and then when you get away from land, you turn everything off, start following the AE route back up towards Sydney. It looks ridiculous on the AE map.
There's satellite ADS-B as well now.
Oh yeah, but they'll obviously reject that. So yeah,
It's all fake.
yeah.
Reject
like I
everything.
kept showing. I've got an ADS-B receiver, an antenna. I can listen to them, and I sent Jaron a video of Wally's from a couple of years ago, and it was actually from the video itself was from a flat earther in Sydney, getting a video of a plane crossing the moon at moonrise, and Wally calculated the plane was 138 kilometers away.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I sent that to Jaron. No response yet, but hopefully he's seen it.
So nearly the 100 miles he was talking about. So
Close, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's I was thinking we could actually prove this by there's webcams and things. We could watch the plane taking off in Sydney or Santiago, whichever way it's going at that time, and then there'll be webcams at the other end. You can film the same plane arriving in a 7,000 miles. What is it? What's that? 12,000 kilometers, something like that, in real money.
Like I said on the debate, I've got a friend who is cabin crew for Qantas, and he does that route, Sydney to Santiago, pretty often. I asked him, and he goes, "Yeah, it's like whatever, 12-14 hours, something like that."
Yeah, I thought it was amazing that Nick said that there are no flights. You go to the Qantas website, and you can book it.
Yep. Ridiculous.
Anyway.
Yeah, like you would be able, if you had someone in Invercargill in New Zealand down the bottom of the South Island, you could track that flight going over the south part of New Zealand. Like that's the direction that it goes. It doesn't go, up across China or the United States, or whatever.
Yeah. You think the passengers would have noticed looking out the window, wouldn't you?
Yes, you would. Yes.
Just a couple of minutes left of this one.
Yep.
It doesn't work. I'm not accepting that answer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think that's a ridiculous standard of evidence.
How?
You would only accept a live stream flight, or maybe don't accept if you were on it.
Well,
you wouldn't accept.
That's if I were to able to take that flight, I would accept it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't accept like ADS-B data, so the flight tracking data.
So no,
Why not?
because that computer can be manipulated.
No, you can listen to the data yourself with. Okay. One of these.
Yeah, that can be manipulated.
No, you can listen to it, right? And then it tells you where the plane is. Look, there's the plane.
On a computer screen.
No, outside in reality.
Right.
You listen for the data.
But you're not going to see the plane for
Yes, you are.
miles. You're not going to see the plane for miles. You'll see above you, but not for miles.
Yeah, and it tells you where it is. I look where it is. It's there.
Right.
Do
I
you
understand.
understand how
But where did it
catastrophic
come
it
from?
would be?
Where did it come from?
Yeah, well, let's bring up a Sydney to Chile flight. Can I share again?
Well, I think he's gonna. Do you acknowledge that there's flight tracking software that would show a plane doing that track? Nick.
Yeah, of course. I would. Yes, there is plane data.
Okay. Do you acknowledge that you can verify that data?
No.
No. Again. Get one of these. Listen for the data.
Okay.
Look where it tells you the plane is. The plane is there.
Pause for a second.
Right. But you
can
can't
verify it.
You can't.
You know, for his explanation, he's obviously saying you can't track it over the ocean, which is correct, right? You do have to take their word for it. But the direction in which it comes from is what I was getting at. Is it comes from the southwest up into Chile, comes from the southeast up into Sydney. Yeah. Anyway, continue. That's all.
Yep, that was pretty much the end
Yeah,
of that.
I don't think
sorry,
they quite fathom the idea that you can see the location, then you can go outside and look out the window and look, there's the plane. I mean, that
He must be claiming once they get away from land, they turn it off and start heading, in the correct direction.
I think it's even more fundamental than that, in that whatever you see on the computer screen, they think it's all fabricated, and it doesn't. And this, because you can match it with reality, that's a silly argument.
Yeah.
I think in general, flirts have no idea how to make an experiment that's where the result is credible. So they just assume that anything we propose, which is, and this is, well, it's an observation more than an experiment, anything we propose is not going to be credible just because they can't do it. Anyway, this is sorry, CD.
The premier belief is the Earth is flat, and any evidence that disputes that has to be fake.
It's the wrong way around. That's not how critical thinkers think. So, and flirts are not critical thinkers. They think they are, but they don't have the critical thinking skills to determine that they're not. That's the funny thing about it.
Just flat out denialism is not critical thinking.
Yeah. So this one's about celestial navigation. It's your first claim.
Yep.
Okay, we got claim number 3, I believe.
Claim number 3. Let me share.
It's your third.
Get there to sharing stuff. Hold on.
Oh, I must have jumped over it.
Good.
This is long distance photos of globe evidence. Yeah.
Is it? Cool. So claim number 3. So Canigou is a mountain near the border of France and Spain. When the sun lines up with Canigou at sunset, it casts a silhouette so you can see it. Usually you can't see it because it just gets scattered away. The peak of Canigou is 2,785 meters above sea level. And in the following photograph, the photographer is 265 kilometers away. So using the laws of perspective, at that distance, the entire height of Canigou from 0 meters up to 2,785 meters should be 0.602 degrees. Right? That's its angular size. That's how big it should appear from that distance. And the curve calculator, so the distance 265 kilometers, the photographer's at 333, and the refracted hidden of 2.55 kilometers. All right, so approximately the top 235 meters or so should be visible, and the rest should be hidden. Cool.
I'll just pause there. Looking at Nick's face, he's just going, duh. It's all numbers and maths. Flirts don't understand numbers and maths.
Yeah. Yeah, but for them, it's a conspiracy theory. For us, it's geometry.
And it's reality. It's an objective way of looking at reality.
Yeah.
No,
sorry. Yeah. I was going to say one of my questions to him earlier in this debate was to give a prediction for how much should be hidden, and he basically said 0. Like he said, like 20 feet or whatever, but 0. And then I go ahead to show that 2.5 kilometers is hidden.
It was out just by a little tiny bit.
Prediction. How's it false?
The 8 inches per mile says that Canigou should not be seen. None of it should be seen at that.
Show me the math. I've got the curve calcs on screen, so please show me the math.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is my claim. Sorry, give me a minute.
Yeah, then finish his claim.
Okay.
And then we'll go to
Oh, I
you.
haven't. No, I haven't yet. All right, so 0.6 degrees is Canigou, but on this date, so 3rd of November 2008, according to Stellarium, the sun had an angular size of 0.537. Okay, so I've measured the sun in the photograph. This is how big it should be, right? At this
Yeah.
location.
Skipped over my words there.
And scaled that line.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I tripped over my words there in the explanation. The goal is to try and figure out how big Canigou should appear in the photo, like how big is 0.6 degrees in this photo. So if we had the focal length of the camera at the time of the photo, we could work it out, but we don't. So there's a hint in the photograph. The sun is always half a degree wide. So we can use the sun to say how big is half a degree in this photo, and then we scale that half a degree up to 0.6 to get how big is Canigou, and then we make it vertical to show you how tall Canigou is.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, basically this is 0.537 degrees in pixels. You figure out how much that translates to 0.602.
Yep.
And then you can see that that's the top of Canigou, and there is where the bottom should be.
Yep.
I have to say I don't think people the flat earthers are understanding this. I've never met a flat earther, and even these two people, Jaron and Nicholas, their faces, their eyes were just staring blankly ahead.
Yeah.
I don't think that they understand what you're trying to do there.
Yeah.
And
Maths and numbers are the kryptonite of flat.
Yeah.
They don't understand what they don't understand.
Yeah, I think they understand from the overlay, which we'll get to in a second, how much is below the horizon. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, I looked at that. None of them had that look of understanding, in my opinion. Right?
Okay.
They're looking at that, like Jared. See Jared's face there now.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
He doesn't understand the integrity of what you're doing. So anyway.
0.6 degrees. Right, that is 0.6 degrees in this photograph. Then I've turned it up sideways or vertical to show you how big Canigou is in this photo, from 0 meters above sea level up to the top of Canigou. Right, this is where the base, or 0 meters above sea level, is at the distance of Canigou. Right. And,
Okay, you got.
oh, sorry, can I use an extra minute?
You got your extra minute. Go ahead.
Cool. This is a 3D render of the terrain in front of Canigou. So Canigou is this one here. So you can see where the shoreline is way over 265 kilometers away, because this is how much of Canigou is missing. So I can flick between these to show you how it matches.
And I just want to point out, you can see that there's this other peak over here. And when you flip back to the photo, you can see that that's also silhouetted against the sun. So the match is perfect.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Cool. I can do this all day. Yeah, so like it said in the curve calcs, about 90% is hidden by the horizon. Okay.
Okay, Nick, you gotta,
Yeah, which curve calculator are you using? Because the other one I use, it says that it's 10,000 feet. There should be you shouldn't be able to see Canigou at all.
Okay. Are you assuming light travels in straight lines for that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Does light travel in straight lines, or does it bend in the atmosphere?
It bends up in the atmosphere.
Why does it bend up?
Bend up.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
No. The one thing I noticed actually, Hugh, is a lot of the times when I said something like, do you understand Snell's law? He will say yes. He'll respond with, I understand. Clearly he didn't. Clearly he didn't understand. If he understood, he wouldn't give the responses that he gave.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another thing I've noticed, and this light travels in straight line or bends. They cannot grasp the fact that if light bends, you can see something that's behind another object. And that seems to be just a complete and total mental block.
Yes.
Oh, even worse, I was having an argument with a fellow yesterday. They think lasers always go straight. They were saying, well, if you're in an atmosphere, it's light, it's going to refract. And they didn't accept that at all. And that's why they think long-range lasers prove there's no curve. But that they're getting
Our
it
friend in the chat, by the way, Hugh, would like to join. I'm not sure how to refer to our friend. By what name?
Our friend in the chat.
Yeah. In the side chat of StreamYard.
Oh, we got a private chat. Sorry, I
Yes,
didn't.
yeah.
You know. Oh, you want to join Ben? Okay.
Yeah, Ben. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, morning.
Yes,
Yes, Ben.
Got to turn off the stream, mate.
Oh, you
Morning.
need headphones.
Can you hear me or not?
I can hear you.
Oh, good.
But I'm getting feedback.
Sorry. Maybe another time. It's not working. Sorry, I haven't got a headset at the moment.
Okay, cool.
I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah.
Airscare's a Wolfpack member, so I invited all the Wolfpack to come along and give comments on this. We need to motor along. It's 6:30 already, so
6:30.
a little bit more of this.
What caused it to bend up?
Because of the atmosphere and the firmament.
Okay, I will say that the light bends down because the air closer to the surface is more dense than the air above it. And using Snell's law of Fermat's principle, it bends down.
So you're assuming that it's refracting up.
It's not an assumption.
That is an assumption. You can't prove that without actually doing that. Like you can't prove refraction is refracting up in any like scientific experiment, like in a garage or something. You can't prove that.
Okay, I can prove that the air is denser close to the surface and less dense as you go up. And then I just apply Snell's law of Fermat's principle.
Right, I understand that. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, there we go. I understand that.
Refracting the entire mountain up.
Yeah, when he says he understands it, he means he's read it on Wikipedia or something.
Yeah, and
never
again,
actually
they don't
applied it.
understand the image can appear elevated because of light bending. That's you see that he missed that.
For us to see it. That's impossible.
Again, I've tried to explain that light does bend downwards. Do you accept that it does?
It bends up. And
Okay,
it bends to
why
the
does it
side.
bend up? Is it more dense above you?
No,
No. So why would it bend up?
because it just does. I don't understand.
It just
Just
does.
does. Yes. Fantastic.
An entire mountain from a
Just the light curves, right?
Okay.
Right. The air is more dense. Do you
I get
understand Snell's law, right? Do you understand
I
Snell's
understand where you're going with that.
Yeah,
I understand.
No, I
We're
don't think
talking
he
about bending
does.
up or down because it's where something appears, right? So if it's bending down, it appears up. If it's
Right.
bending,
Yes,
yeah,
Jaron. Jaron
okay,
got it.
go with.
law? Oh, well, do you want to continue on that one?
Oh, sorry, you
If
stopped
that
on?
is the confusion.
I don't know if that it sounds like it was a confusion.
No,
Yeah, I think that'll do for that one. We're running out of time, so I'll jump to the next one, which I hope is the right one. This is the best one. Yes, this is the best one. Let's. This is well. We'll let it.
All right. So the sun and the moon do appear to be the same size, right?
This is Nick's fourth claim.
There's no way you can actually physically measure the distance to the sun that's 93 million miles away. Let me share my screen.
Oops. Okay. I don't think.
I guess they're talking about using a tape measure for that.
That's what they're thinking.
Go ahead. Sorry.
If you
This
call
was
that thinking.
obviously taken in Colorado on that date.
Oh, look, that's. Oh, let's go back a bit. That sun was. Oh, I've lost it. Have I?
I think I got to turn off like a second.
And that sun's in front of that line there.
Yes.
It's a local sun.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't use a solar filter
Obviously,
and then
taken in
accused
Colorado.
me of using a solar filter and calling it rubbish. So bizarre.
Let me get some
I was
more.
kind of toying with him a little bit here. When he said the sun and the moon are the same size, he obviously meant angular size, but never used those words. So, yeah.
And yes, his explanation later on is hilarious.
Yes.
Hold on. It's your time to do a claim. Just claim.
Right, they appear to be the same size, same state, same looking west over the mountains. You cannot physically measure any of them. You can assert NASA's claims that it's 230,000 or whatever miles away, but clearly that is not. Let's see if I can find the other one here.
Geez, I thought there might be a Father Ted moment there somewhere, but no.
There is. Yeah, there is.
Clearly, They look exactly the same size.
He's
Clearly.
not comparing two things that are done the same way.
At all?
Those were pictures I took in Colorado, and I've also have other pictures in other states, but those were just mostly the ones in Colorado looking west.
Okay, can you share again? You had 2 moon photos on the 27th of April, 2019 or something like that. 2021?
No, he didn't even put them up side by side to say, look, they're obviously the same, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't evidence in any way.
Oh, this
It
one
wasn't
blew my
very-
mind.
Not see it.
Okay, sorry. Here we go.
Wasn't very well presented.
Yeah, the top 2. Yes, is that one? And that one. Looks bigger in the first one, doesn't it?
Yeah, because zoomed in.
Right, zoomed in. Okay, so zooming in makes it look bigger.
Yes.
Of course.
Okay, so when you said the moon is the same size as the sun, how big are they?
There's different claims. You know, I can't literally physically
Here we
measure them. And don't shake
Hang
your
on
head.
one
Mom. You
second.
can't.
Your claim is that they are the same size.
They look exactly the same size. Yes, that's my
Okay,
claim.
how big are they?
I don't know. I haven't physically measured. Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing, he says.
Wow.
His claim is they're the same size, but he has no idea what size they are. How can you make
Yeah.
that claim?
Yeah. He obviously means angular size, and I gave him the opportunity to say so.
Hmm.
Wow.
So no measurements, nothing. He just assumes that they are.
Same size. How big are they?
Some people say they're 3,000 miles
you.
wide. Who knows?
You.
No, I don't know. I'm being honest.
Okay, then don't make the claim.
Why? Why not?
Why not? How can he not get that? If you don't have any evidence for your claim, how can you make it?
Oh, he was sprung, right? He was at this moment he knew he fucked up, right? And he's just trying to cover it.
Yeah, he's gishgowling, basically. He talks about being an honest person, but an honest person wouldn't
Not
make
cringe.
the claim without actually having the measurement.
Yeah. When he said I'm an honest person, I cringed. I wanted to crawl away.
I mean, I believe he honestly doesn't know. That's very believable, but it's kind of contradictory to being an honest person if you're going to make a claim without evidence.
Yeah.
Because you're going to make the claim that's 93 million miles away, but you can't actually physically measure it.
It's not my claim. Your claim was that they're the same size, and I asked you how big are they, and you said you don't know.
Have you ever met an honest person?
Ooh.
Yes.
Oof.
Okay. I honestly don't know the size of them, but clearly we can see them that they're the same size.
You just did it again.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it looks like. You've got to measure it if you're going to make a claim like that.
Yeah.
And
There was a
you can't
distinct
measure it
lack of
because
measurement.
There's no tape measure long enough. Sorry, you can never measure it.
If you try to measure
but
the sun, it'll burn off anyway.
Right. But he didn't understand the concept of angular size. I was trying to push him into it, but he just didn't get there.
Yes, they don't. Like I said, they don't know what they don't know, and that's why they assume they're right, but they're just wrong, you know. And you can prove it. Right. Okay. So we're almost out of time, so I'm going to jump to the last one, which is where Jeren asks you a question, which I thought was telling about Jeren.
So in you saying that, if let's pretend that this is a deception, just like you wanted to pretend it's a globe Earth, let's pretend that we're being deceived, and we actually lived on a flat Earth. Could map projectionists project that Earth that we live on onto a sphere?
Yeah, mathematically, yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So once it's on a sphere, and we don't know the calculations that they came up with to move it to the sphere, because we wouldn't know where the land actually was, because now we're told we live on a sphere. Would celestial navigation then on a sphere prove that we live on a sphere?
I would say it only works on a sphere, both because of the 60 nautical miles per degree, and then when you go and draw those circles of equal altitude, they only intersect if the Earth is a sphere. I was on flat stories a few months
Hold
ago.
on, but let's go back. Let's go back. We live on a flat Earth. Then they project it onto a sphere. Then they come up with the stars and the ground location, ground position. They come up with the angles. They put it all in. Now they've got it all succinct and ready to go. We would be looking at it today, saying what you're saying. Oh, it proves that we're on a globe. But we just told the story that we're not. They projected the flat Earth onto the globe. Then they made celestial navigation onto the fake globe, and then that's what you guys use to claim that that's globe evidence. But all you need to do, if you said you want to think about what would be the case if we were being deceived.
Those distances are real world distances.
Well, you've measured them. I bet you haven't measured over a mile in your entire life.
Good question.
Good point.
Well, they work, but that's the prize. If it's a deception,
Hey,
it
hold
wouldn't
that.
work.
What about that?
I understand.
Yeah, I've never measured it over a mile my entire life, he said. what is it with that? I mean, you can drive a car with an odometer,
Yeah.
and you know, I've done it. You can measure hundreds of miles.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I said people have driven from Sydney to Perth,
Yeah.
and I know from Stellarium, I know that it's accurate, and therefore will work because it's accurate for me in my location, and my location is not special. I know that it works for other people as well. So I know when a star's overhead, you know, 3 hours later, wherever it is, 3 hours later, it's going to be overhead in Perth, and we know that distance. That's what I was trying to get at with my explanation.
Yeah, you don't have to measure the whole Earth. You can just measure a couple of 100 kilometers, and you've got enough of it to be able to make some conclusions.
Yeah.
In fact, just 1 degree of longitude will do, really.
Actually, that's very interesting what Jaron is trying to say. He's trying to say, oh, the Earth really is flat, and that all the geometry and everything is made up, and someone has gone to all the trouble to make it all fit together with maths. I mean, to someone who doesn't understand maths and science and everything, that may be a thing that makes sense. And I don't know how you can overcome that.
Yeah, like I just basically said real world distances are what they are if the Earth is a globe.
Yeah. And it's the easiest way to prove that it's a globe. You just, okay, what's the prediction of flat Earth? As Nick himself said, it was supposed to be twice as long.
Yep.
If you drive that distance and it's not in the southern hemisphere, it's probably the best way of doing it. And if it matches the globe but doesn't match flat Earth, you know which is real. Unless they're going to claim that odometers are a conspiracy as well.
Thou shalt not multiply entities beyond necessity.
Yes. We might leave it there. You should, I don't know if you've looked at it, Roohif, since you had the debate, but you should check out the chat. There's some wonderful things in there. The cognitive dissonance was hilarious.
Yeah. Paige was in there firing up. That was pretty funny. Yeah.
Well, here's 3 I picked out I thought were funny to listen to. They thought you were an idiot, basically. Here's one. Nick was not ready for this level of Dunning-Kruger. You were the one with Dunning-Kruger, even though he didn't provide anything. Yeah. Heliosorcery is in its death throes. Soon geocentrism will be commonplace.
Wow.
And I've never seen an intellectual chimpanzee using logical fallacy and also condescend as though he is winning. It's cringe AF.
I was condescending towards Nick during the debate. Yes, he was pretty arrogant. Oh yeah, before the debate he was pretty arrogant, and I was like, dude, this is not going to turn out how you think it is. After he'd given me his questions, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'm going to. But for example, when he said his observer height was 5 feet on the beach, and I'd already done the work to show that he's about 10 feet, and I was like, oh, 5 feet, really? Like. Yeah, that was condescending. Yes,
he was thinking 5 feet from the ground. He wasn't thinking 5 feet from the water.
Yes, and he didn't understand that what you were trying to explain there, why he wasn't 5 feet.
Yeah,
didn't get it at all.
Nope.
So I'm going to wrap it up there because we're on the 45-minute mark. Thank you both so much for being my guests today and commenting on this craziness. Thank you, Roohif, for giving it to us. I appreciate taking the time and to give us your thoughts in your own words. So I'm going to wrap up the show now. Let me know who you'd like me to look at in the near future by leaving a comment below. I appreciate all suggestions. And I take Sundays off, so for Monday, my time, I'll be having my fortnightly look at Level Earth Observer and what derp he's outputted since we last saw him. And I'll have to have a look at Jaron sometime next week, I think. Do the YouTube things, like the stream, click that thumbs up button, subscribe, click join, leave a comment. I love to read your comments. They're always interesting. In particular, if you're one of the few who watch my videos who aren't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button below this video on your screen. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. And I think that just about
there's nothing left to do but there's nothing left to do but cue the corgi.
You're defeated.